finally they break. But where there is positive power, we survive. It reminds me of an incident from Ramayana. In one of the Ramayanas, it is mentioned that when Sri Ram reached Rameshwaram and he wanted to perform the puja, he wanted to worship Shiva. So he needed a Brahmin. And the most powerful Brahmin in the whole of that area was Ravan himself. Ravan was not an Asura, he was a Brahmin. So when he wanted to perform this puja, Sri Ram thought there is no one who can perform this puja very accurately according to the shlokas besides Ravan. So he sends Hanuman, go and request Ravan to come and perform this puja. And as also he is a devotee of Shiva, he would not say no. So Hanuman goes to the court of Ravan and he tells Ravan, Bhagwan Sri Ram has asked you to come and perform this holy puja according to the mantras and the scriptures. What must have Ravan said? Ravan said, I would not come. Please go. Now he could not literally use a force to bring him up, because that was against Sri Ram's will. So he comes back and he tells Sri Ram that he is not ready to come. He is refused. So Sri Ram turned towards Lakshman and signaled him, would you go and request Ravan to come to perform this holy puja. So Lakshman had this thought, if Hanuman was not able to bring him, how can I bring him? So the expressions on his face gave this message to Sri Ram. Sri Ram called Hanuman and asked him, when you went there, what did you say? So Hanuman repeated the same words. Well, I told him, hey Ravan, Bhagwan Sri Ram wants to perform this puja, so please come and perform. So Sri Ram smiled at him and said, did you go to invite an enemy or challenge him? If you want to invite an acharya, what should be the language? How much honor should be given to him? So Lakshman understood where Hanuman was wrong. So he tells Sri Ram, can you teach me how I have to address him? So Ram teaches him that you should tell him that, hey Lankapati, hey Acharya Sresht, hey Brahmano mein Uttam, Sarvottam, Vanvasi Ram is requesting you to come and perform the holy rites. We have to become humble when we go in front of an acharya. So Lakshman goes in the court of Ravan, and as he was taught, he addresses Ravan and humbly says, Vanvasi Ram is asking you to perform this holy rites. Now, when a Brahmin is given so much of honor, he cannot refuse. So it is said that Ravan comes to perform that puja. After the puja is over, Sri Ram asked him, "What dakshina should I give you? What would you like to have for your dakshina?" Ravan laughs at him. The one who has nothing for himself, what dakshina will he give to me? So Sri Ram smiles and said, "Look, at this time, I am in a position where I have to give you something. So ask, whatever you ask, I will definitely give you that." Now Ravan was very intelligent. So he says, "If you wish to give me one blessing." So Sri Ram asked him, "What blessing do you want?" So Ravan says, "If you want to give me a blessing, give me this blessing, that I am never influenced by your values." Because the day when a person is influenced by the values, he loses. So this is what he said, "Hey Ravan, give me this blessing, that I am never influenced by your sadachar." Sadachar. His behavior was full of values, full of positive power. And Ravan was afraid of that positive power. He was hollow from within. That is why he had asked for this blessing. Because the day when he is influenced by his positive code and conduct of behavior, he loses everything. So positive has power, negative does not have power. So when we are the embodiment of the core values, we are powerful. Those 7 core values are like the battery of the soul. But in today's age, this battery is completely discharged. So now I need to charge my battery. And how can I charge my battery? There are 2 ways to charge a battery. The first method to charge a battery is a car's battery. How can we keep it charged? The more I keep the car in a running position, the more it functions, more it runs, the battery keeps on charging. And if it is completely discharged, I have to connect it to another source from which it gets charged. Similarly, the battery of the soul which is completely discharged, and if I really want to charge it, there are these 2 methods. Either allow those qualities to flow in your relationship, in your behavior, in your interaction. The more we are able to share, the more it multiplies. The more I am able to share knowledge, the knowledge multiplies. The more I am able to share love, love multiplies. The more I am able to give peace to others, the peace multiplies. So the more I give, I get, I multiply, I charge my battery. And this is what is happening in the world. People are not able to give. We cannot give love to others. We have become so much self-centered. We have become so much shallow that we can't just share. And this is why the battery is constantly discharging. And the second is either connect to the source. When I connect my mind and intellect, when I focus my mind and intellect on that Supreme, I recharge myself. And by recharging this battery, what is the benefit I will receive in my life? Okay, if I have charged my battery, how will I practically lead life? People will throw me out of the society. That is what some people feel. No, they will not throw you out of the society. On the contrary, you become a source of inspiration for so many. Because that is the real art of living. That is what Srimad Bhagavad Gita teaches us. And we have seen all those great personalities, whether it was Swami Vivekananda, whether it was Mother Teresa, whether it was Mahatma Buddha, whether it was Mahavir Swami, whether it was our Chief Administrative Head, Dadi Prakash Mani, and many others. What was the difference between their life and an ordinary human being's life? The only difference was their battery was completely charged. And today's human batteries are discharged. What is the benefit that we will receive? By generating these qualities in our life, there are three great benefits that we receive. The first great benefit is the first great benefit that we receive is we are able to change situations. The second great benefit is we are able to change the environment. And the third great benefit is we are able to change the attitudes of people. How? How is this possible? It reminds me of that incident which I shared in the morning also from Swami Vivekananda's life. That when he went to America and he went to a gathering where Srimad Bhagavad Gita was insulted. Srimad Bhagavad Gita was kept right at the bottom. All other scriptures were kept on top. Bible was kept on the top. And in the whole gathering, they laughed at Swami Vivekananda that your Gita is outdated and our Bible is at the top of the world today. Now, if a person would have been there from today's age, what would have happened? A person